Yes, guys, welcome back to episode 3 of the Natural Selection podcast. Today, we want to get stuck straight into another topic, something that you see so much of and people getting really fed up with, and people absolutely loving it. And I want to get your boys' opinion on it, and I've got my opinion on it, and that's being optimal. And we're going to start off with training. So, do you guys believe in optimal training? And if you do, how does optimal training look for you guys?
I think just like a lot of things in the fitness industry, like optimals,
I
like
think that answers it. Just oh,
yeah,
fucking hell, here we go again.
it's it's been hijacked. So it's quite a broad term because
Mm,
what's optimal for one person might not necessarily be optimal for another. So if you
mm,
look at like high level bodybuilders, you've got the likes of like Dorian Yates, who high intensity, low frequency,
yeah,
built an absolutely amazing physique from it.
yeah,
And then you've got guys like Phil Heath, who are more on that higher volume,
mm,
also built an amazing physique from it.
mm,
Now, would Phil's physique have looked better training like Dorian? Would Dorian's physique have looked better training like Phil? We won't know because
no,
we can't know. But in a parallel universe, yes, one might look better than the other. Or is it that that's the way that they enjoyed training? So if they enjoyed that form of training, they were able to push themselves in that way of training, which then meant that they got the results from it. And I think for me, ultimately, it's got to boil down to like, do I enjoy it?
mm-hmm,
Can I do it consistently for weeks and months without kind of getting bored? Like you see it with like new guys all the time where they're program hopping every like 6 to 8 weeks and they wonder why they're not making any progress. And it's like, because this takes time and you can't shortcut a shortcut, and some people genetically might get on better with higher intensity, some people might get on better with higher volume, and ultimately like the margins of kind of what's going to be better are probably very very small. Like ultimately it's, can I train hard and can I do it consistently? And I think those are the two most important aspects.
Very good point,
yeah,
to be fair. Very good. I think like you nailed it right there. I think when it comes to optimal training, in my opinion, it's always down to like what works based on your genetics and what you're used to. What environment I think environment plays a big role when it comes to optimal training. So if you're someone who grew up in like a very fast-paced environment, then you're probably gonna enjoy that kind of training more, or you might not even enjoy that kind of training because that is your kind of your own space. So I think as long as you're in a position where you feel comfortable enough to grow and you're doing what you enjoy doing, it makes a big difference into what optimal training is for you. So yeah, very good point there, mate.
yeah. I think enjoyment plays a massive role because you can have the most perfect program on paper, but if you don't enjoy it, that your effort drops off, then it's no longer the best program ever because effort is always number one. If you're not training with enough intensity, your body isn't not going to adapt. So I think optimal is different for everyone, and it's what it takes you back to actually a PT I had this week, and then you were asking me loads of questions, and with bodybuilding, it's just not black and white. That there's not like yeses and nos. It's just so individual dependent. It's like what is the best amount of sets? Well, if you don't train very hard, maybe do 6 sets because then you're going to get enough volume to actually grow. But if you're training really hard, maybe you only need 1 set. Like it's not black and white. Like, do you know what I mean? Like how many calories do you need to eat to grow? Okay, well, some people need 1,500 and some people need 6,000, to gain weight.
Yeah.
Like so optimal is so wide. There's such a wide range with it, and I think trying to fall in that trap too much can lead to procrastination, and I think procrastination just leads to a lack of results. Action always wins, like in lots of other things, I think.
I think social media has definitely made it worse because to get clout on social media, you need to be polarizing.
Mm,
So you need to be basically like, this way's right, this way's wrong. If you're doing this way, you're stupid. Listen to me.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I see it all the time in Gen Pop. Like, it's probably worse for diets than training because it's almost like it's like a church. Like, people become like keto zealots. Like, this is the only way to do it. Same thing for like
Mm,
intermittent fasting or veganism or whatever it is. It's like, this is the right way. This is the only way you can do it. Whereas when we've been in the fitness industry for a while, realize like there's ultimately these foundations at the bottom. If you're trying to lose fat, the ultimate foundation is create a calorie deficit. Like, it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that.
yeah,
If you're creating a calorie deficit by only eating in a 6 hour window or
right,
not eating carbohydrates or whatever it
yeah,
is,
yeah,
ultimately all you're doing is creating that. And
yeah,
I think it's that same thing with training. Like, ultimately, you need to train close to failure for sufficient reps to kind of give you the stimulus for hypertrophy. And how you achieve that is going to be very person dependent, whether they want to
yeah,
go for a higher weight, slightly lower reps, lower
mhm,
moderate weight for kind of moderate reps. Like,
mhm,
it's it's all the same. Like, the
yeah,
body doesn't know the difference between hitting failure at like 8 reps and hitting failure at
mm,
15 reps. It just
mm,
recognizes that there is stress on the system.
yeah,
yeah. Do you think it
yeah,
changes though? Because I feel like it does. I feel like depending on your level of experience in training, I think that your intensity, or your optimal, it changes as you get older or as you like the longer you train. Do you know what I mean? Because
I think
like
your
yeah,
I think your ability to know what failure is changes.
yes,
right,
So you take a beginner and you tell them to
yeah,
train to failure and you watch
yeah,
them, they're
mm,
probably training to 2, 3, 4 reps in reserve.
right,
Whereas
even
you
more
take
as a
somebody who's
beginner,
more
even more probably.
experienced that actually knows how to train to failure and
Yeah,
they train to failure, you know they have nothing left in the tank.
mm,
But again, for a beginner, do they necessarily need to train to failure to get the stimulus to grow? Probably not, because it's a lot
mm,
newer. And if anything, it's probably bad for them to actually train to failure
yeah,
because their form is going to break down and they haven't learned the skill. And I think it's a skill thing. It's once you have that skill, you're able to execute it to a higher level.
yeah. I think it's failing. What's I can't think of the right word, but it's like you've got. It's like, is it mechanical failure or, so, or whatever it is? But
You've got
basically, you've got
technical failure and then mechanical
technical
failure.
failure and mechanical failure, right? Yeah, and it's like as a beginner, but even as most people, other than some exercises where it's safe to fail in mechanical failure, as a beginner, like even getting close to technical failure should be like I think the goal. Like any more than that, it's just putting yourself at risk. But you're definitely right. In the first year of training, as long as you're training reasonable, you can just pick up weights and grow, like whatever you do. And I think that's why now so many people are making so much progress in these first few years because whatever you do, you are going to grow. But then if you do optimize it, like you have a high frequency and stuff like that, then it's just going to blow up. Like if I could go back, how differently I'd do stuff, I certainly wouldn't be following 30 sets per muscle group like I used to, which it actually was. I would do like 5 sets, I'd do a drop set at the end, and I'd do like 6 or 7 exercises per muscle group per session. It was ridiculous.
When your
I'd go back
tendons
massively.
are
and do
made of
like
rubber,
three.
mate.
Huh?
When you're 18 and your tendons are made of
Yeah,
rubber, you
honestly. And
abuse
sometimes
them.
that was like deadlifts as well. I was doing 5 sets of deadlifts and a drop set at the end. And I was like,
What?
it's all about how hard to train. I'm not even joking.
Is that with
Um,
3 scoops of pre-workout as well?
yeah,
Yeah, bro.
from
If
my
I do
protein.
deadlifts now, I do like 2 sets and I'm fried for like a
Oh,
good
mate.
5 days, man.
Yeah, if I'm conventional deadlifting, 1 set. Any other hinge, potentially two, depending where I'm at.
Yeah,
And I have no idea how people will do more than that. Like, I can do it, but the rest of my training for days later will just
we
suffer.
just
And then,
we just like get
what's the
cooked
point?
after my work after.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? How different things can be when you're younger. All right, whilst we're on that, let's make it a bit funny. Let's hear some of the most ridiculous or stupid stuff you've done in the gym. We've all got to have one.
Oh,
Anyone
mate.
think of one?
Um,
I seen like training style or like doing something
Just
random.
anything. I know I've got some pretty
When
ridiculous
you
stuff.
hit us with one, and then we'll think of some.
Okay, well, I used to really believe in drop sets, and although I don't typically program them much now or do them myself much now, I do think if you have someone who struggles to train with intensity, a drop set absolutely has its place because it's easier to recruit like high effort reps. So I don't think they're a complete waste of time, but for most people, I probably wouldn't incorporate them if they're training well. Um, but I used to just drop set everything. So you just think of any exercise, like even like like barbell squats. You used to have people like with the plates ready just to take it off, like, and I'd literally get near
Yeah.
failure
Oh, I
and I'd take a
definitely
plate off and
remember
I'd just
those.
keep going and stuff like
Or
that.
like it's like almost like you've
Honestly,
got a
one day I
barbell
have to
doing
share
squats
some of
and
the
you're taking
videos. I have
plates
no
off.
idea how to snap. Sorry.
I was saying I remember doing that. So like when you'd be squatting, I
Yeah.
do like 6 reps. Like, cool, take a plate off, and then
Yeah.
carry on going, take a plate off. Keep on going. She's just like, bar, and he's like, what am I doing, man? That's mad.
Yeah.
so my thing would probably be like adding like finishers slash like intensifiers onto every single session.
Mm,
Like looking back now, it's probably
mm,
something to do every once in a while. If
yeah.
you energy's good, recovery's good, and you just want to kind of like blow things out of the water. But it was literally like arms, there'd be a finisher at the end.
Yeah.
So like 10 sets of 10, like a GVT at the end of a workout where I've already probably done like 20, 30 working sets.
Yeah.
Um, doing like I said, like drop sets on like a leg press, but it'd be
Yeah.
loaded up with like 10 kilo plates. So they'd be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
5 or 6 like 10 kilo plates on each side,
Yeah.
AMRAP, drop plate off, AMRAP, and as you said, you've got that
Yeah.
friend that's dropping it off straight away, and you end up doing like 50, 60 reps
Yeah,
when your
mate.
legs are
100%.
already fried. And then I
I used
couldn't
to do it on
walk right for the
pendulums.
next like 4 days. And
Yeah.
it was literally that meme of, oh, my legs have just recovered. Oh, it's leg day again.
Legs
Like,
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
literally just absolutely
Yeah.
abusing my body.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be so bad for that. Like, I remember people told me they trained legs more than once a week, and this is honestly the mindset that I had. And I was like, you're just training like a pussy then. I was like, if you can train legs more than once a week, you train like a pussy. And then when I'm hearing girls are training like 3 times a week, I'm just like, I used to think it's so dumb. I was like, how can anyone think that's good? But now it's so funny how like the years go on. It's like I look back at that guy and think you fucking dick. Do you know what I mean? You absolute dick. Like,
I think
yes,
it's like
I
anything.
absolutely.
If you now are the same person with the same views as you were
Yeah,
5 years
exactly.
ago,
You haven't
you've
grown.
not grown, you've not
No,
developed.
exactly.
Do
Yeah,
you
it's
look
funny.
at pictures back from when you was from a few years ago, and you just think you look at something, fuck, I was bigger then than you are now, or like because I keep on seeing pictures of back before I started bodybuilding, like, and I'm like, I used to be quite big then. What the hell happened to me? So, but
Yeah,
then I'm actually bigger now than then. But for some reason, I
yeah.
keep on thinking I'm bigger back then, which
You
is mad,
catch
isn't it?
like that one photo or lighting where it's like really
Yes,
good and
yeah,
or like something like that. And yeah, like I'm way bigger now, but I was always been heavier before, and I was like, I was bigger framed. I just had way less muscle, had way more fat. But you
yeah.
get like the right angle and a pump. Occasionally, you've got like an insane photo, and you're like, hold on
Bro,
a minute.
I think I came across a picture like that from like the gym group the other day, where I was like,
Yeah,
my mate took it. I was like, wow, I came across and I was like, oh, look at my arms. They're
yeah,
fucking massive, mate. What happened to them? But yeah, it was so shit then. It was just that one picture. Just literally that one
yeah,
picture. That was good.
yeah. It's funny. None of them for you, then, Deej.
Pardon?
What's that?
No photos like that from you from back in the rugby days.
Mate, I think I can find the picture
No, because
actually.
I was really skinny. Like I've always struggled to put
Mm,
weight on.
true.
So I look back on photos of me at 16, 17, and think about how big I used to think I was. And I was just literally that skinny guy that had
Mm.
abs and thought he was massive because I went to the gym. So yeah,
So, what on that topic then? What? There's something that I know I definitely have to some degree. I don't think I'm as bad as other people, but some people have it awful. Is, you know, what happens to bodybuilder, body dysmorphia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys think you have body dysmorphia?
Oh,
And if you do, on
100%.
what scale?
100%, mate. I wake up every
Yeah.
morning
Especially,
like thinking, what the hell is this?
In
especially
what
when
way
it's
though?
post prep,
Yeah, for
like
Yeah,
sure.
your body dysmorphia post prep, because you've been
Awful.
so focused, number go down, check
Yeah,
ins, fucking shredded, like,
yeah,
and then it disappears so quickly. So to
yeah,
get back to like a healthy
mm,
place to in order to be able to grow, like you need to get that body fat back on you. But
yeah,
you're looking at photos and thinking like 4 months ago I was literally on the world stage, my glutes were inside out, and
yeah.
now I can't even see the outline of my like hamstring tie-ins or anything like that.
It
I
is
was speaking
hard.
to a client about this the other day actually, because like I'm sat at like 74, 75 kilos now, and I feel awful because I'm starting to see people like starting their preps, and so they're in that pre-prep phase. They're about to get shredded, and it's almost because we're comparing ourselves to the top tier of natural
Yeah,
bodybuilders. Like they
yeah,
are the 0.01% of the population, and that's who we're comparing ourselves to. Whereas my
yeah,
physique right now is probably still going to be in the top 5% of the
mm,
human population, full
mm,
stop. But because I'm comparing myself to that person that's like the top echelon, it's always like, right, because I think part of bodybuilding is wanting to strive to be better. It's, and what I need to learn is, again, what I try and teach my clients is everybody's perfect the way they are, but we could all use a
yeah,
little improvement. So it's
yeah,
that duality of accepting kind of like where you are and the phase you're in, but also being okay with the fact that I'm still trying to move forward. I'm still trying to progress.
yeah. Yeah, I think also it doesn't help that, you know, we go on social media, which is the highlight reel, and because we're in the bodybuilding, you know, 70, 80% of who comes up is just everyone posting their best photos. And that
Mm.
does become the normal. Like, do you know what I mean? And that's why people have body dysmorphia in different things. So females, you know, with maybe women, you know, either a face full of makeup or, you know, editing their photos and, you know, they got bigger lips, eyelashes, whatever it is. And, you know, it seeps into everyone, I think, for sure. But you're right. You just gotta stay true to your own goal, and it's so much easier said than done. But like, you're in your improvement phase, you know, and you're doing that for a reason at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yeah.
yeah. I think the worst part, even like, even our best, you're still gonna critique yourself. Like,
Yeah,
remember, we've all been to like big stages, and like, that's the best look you've ever brought to stage, and you're still gonna look at that pictures and be like, I wish this was better. I think it's just because of we just got, like I said, we've got like high expectations of ourselves, and I think, but in bodybuilding especially, everyone has like that image in their head of what they think is the perfect look. So you're constantly chasing something that is not even real. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
I'm here looking at pictures of C-bomb thinking I want to look like that. If I don't look like that, I'm not good enough. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm
yeah.
never going to look like C-bomb, so
I'm shit
it's
if I
not
don't look like
realistic.
him.
You are?
I said I'm shit if I don't look like him.
I know, isn't it? Literally, like it's like that, bro. You just think, oh, why don't I
And I
look
want to
like
do it
him?
naturally as well.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest lie we ever tell ourselves, isn't it? Like, yeah, we're gonna look like C-bomb naturally one day. It's never gonna happen, guys.
With your guys' body dysmorphia, I'd be interested to know, especially with different backgrounds. Like for me, yeah, I don't feel like I'm a massive guy, and people, I'm not massive, I'm definitely not, but I don't even feel like I'm a big guy really, and other people will say I am. But I think where I see my body dysmorphia most is like I never feel lean, like until I'm in condition shape. And I think that goes back to me being like overweight as a kid, and that's the constant guy that I battled. Does that make sense? So like realistically, I know on an objective standpoint, like I stay in pretty good nick all the time now, and like I know that, but like especially when I'm in my improvement phase, I actually do feel like I'm fat, and I know like with the coach head I'm not, but I think that is because of the what I had as a kid. Does that make sense? I'd be interested to see it, like you guys being smaller people, like skinny. Is that what's in your head more than fat, or
That's quite deep, bro. Like we're taking it very
yeah,
there.
no, but
That's very
it's
deep.
just honestly true.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think for me, it's therefore like I think when I look at it, I do see that little skinny boy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Trying to grow. I think when I
But you
look at it, and
don't
I'm
see
like, I'm still
yourself as
that
being
guy.
like a bit like out of shape, like a bit soft, bit fat.
Yeah, yeah,
You do.
yeah.
Oh, you do
Literally,
as well.
I get
Okay.
very. I feel like I get very soft. Like everyone sees me, like, and they're like, "Oh no, mate, you're still in very good condition for like someone who's been off
Okay.
season for like 16 weeks." Blah blah. But I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
seeing something different or not.
Yeah.
Like, I check in every weekend, and
I think.
my
Yeah.
coach is like, yeah, you got. Ah, cool. We're gonna push. We need to push for more food. We need to push more. I'm just like, what the fuck? Why are you pushing more food for? I'm like, I lose soft as
Yeah.
fuck. But it's
Yeah.
very, very hard to kind of
Do you
like,
know? Did you guys see like Joe's Emma? It's like off-season update.
who?
He's like the classic, the classic guy. I
What's
can't even
his
say his
name?
name. Um, Joe Zema? Is it not Joe
Oh,
Zema? Do you
Jose.
know
Yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Spanish guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I did see
legit.
that
He's the
actually.
guy who gets like crazy, crazy peeled.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he put up like an off-season update, and he's obviously still shredding. Like that's how you feel like you should look in your
Yeah,
off-season
that's
kind of
literally
thing.
that's how. Yeah, I think I came across that the other week, and I was like, how even like now one punch. He like his off season. I'm like, that's not off season, bro. It looks like
You
he could
could
step on
walk
stage
on
tomorrow.
stage. Yeah, I know.
Usually, I'm like, what? And you're looking at stuff like that, I think, why can't I be like that? Do you know what I mean? Like, crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
Do you have waves of it as well? Like I noticed this is a bad thing is like I can literally have like the start of the week, like a Monday, and I'm like, fucking hell, I'm looking all right here, like I'm post workout, I'm like, this is good. And it gets to like Thursday evening, I look at myself and I'm like, how the fuck do people listen to me, bro? I look like a fucking billbox from down the gym. Do you know what I mean? You're like looking yourself in the mirror like you're a fucking disgrace.
That was literally me today. Like all week, like I just felt like, I'm gonna look shit. And then today, for some reason, the sun was out. I trained early in the day. And I took
Mm.
some pictures like, oh, okay, I'm quite happy with it. I'm actually gonna post a
Yeah,
picture
I'm doing
today.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I haven't posted much or like physique updates, but like today I was like, okay, cool. I'm actually happy with the way I'm looking. But
Mate,
yeah,
talking
all week
about
it's
that,
been
that was
like, bloody hell.
crazy. Where the fuck was your waist gone?
Oh yeah. I
Tell
was
you what,
laughing like, come on.
I might be able to screen share it. Let me have a look. This will be the first time me trying, so it might be an epic fail. All right, show everyone what we're dealing with here. Here we go.
Try and see. I'll find Finger's picture as well. His recent update.
Right,
Jose
share
Ma.
screen. Uh, all right, I can't seem to work it out, so maybe not. I'll work
But
on it
yeah,
again next.
I'll show you guys the picture of Jose Ma. Like this is him. I don't know if you're gonna see it. It's not really gonna come up properly because of the lighting, but Jose Ma, how's that even like off season?
It's crazy,
How?
isn't it? Yeah, I can't seem to load it up for some reason. Next time. With you was obviously just talking about that guy's condition. When with your clients, with yourself, what's your thoughts on like diet plans versus if it fits your macros? When do you use both? Do you use both for clients? When do you recommend one or the other?
I use both for myself and clients. So I'll do an, and I've got one that's like a hybrid. So for me, it all depends on the level of knowledge that the individual's got.
Yeah,
So if somebody comes in, they're already used to tracking food. I'll normally get them to track what they're normally eating anyway for a week or two, and then I can go in and look at it and see, right, how many of these foods repeat? Okay, what you're eating's roughly on an 80-20 split anyway, so you can get away with like a calories like ceiling and a protein floor because you're making good choices. Whereas somebody might come in, they track their foods for 2 weeks and it's like it's full of like hyper processed crap, or they think they're eating well, and like you look at it. I had one of these come in the other day actually, and his protein shakes were like the ready-made protein shakes in bottles, and he was
Full of
eating like
sugar.
protein bars. So like
Yeah.
90% of his protein was coming from
Shit.
like supplements and
Yeah.
so protein bars, and then those ready-made up shakes which are really high in carbs.
Yeah.
And then he was wondering why he was getting hungry, and I was like, because you're not eating any food. Like you're
Yeah.
putting liquids and a junk bar. So we literally
Yeah.
had to then go through. So the semi-structured approach I'll tend to do, which works really well for a lot of people, is right, you're eating 3 or 4 meals a day. So let's standardize your breakfast. Let's give you 2 options at breakfast. Let's give you 2 options at lunch. Because most people wake up, they eat the same sugary cereal every single day, and then at lunchtime they go out and get a meal deal. Like
Yeah.
that's their diet, and then their evening meal
Yeah.
is flexible.
A
So
massive dinner.
all we then do is right, we standardize it. So right, we're getting our 30 grams of protein in here. It could be overnight oats, it could be scrambled egg, whatever it is. I'll let them pick the food, and then we'll just adjust the portion sizes so that it fits within the calories. We get that protein in. Same thing at lunchtime. If they're not used to prepping, then all I'll say is right, whatever you cook in an evening meal, if you're cooking 4 portions right now, cook 6. Like it takes no more time. It's just a few extra ingredients, but make sure you portion them out into like Tupperware tubs as you're plating up the food, or else you will just eat the extra portions at that meal, and that defeats the object. And then take that into the next day until you get into that routine of planning ahead. For me, I can normally get away with like that semi-structured approach up until about 12 weeks out. And then once it's 12 weeks out, so basically I'll have to pull out that evening meal that I have with my family. That then goes to, right, an on-plan meal so that it's then like standardized. Because I'm sure most of the audience will know, but if you're tracking with If It Fits Your Macros, the nutritional information that's on packaging can be up to 20% variance, either above or below what it says on the
Yeah.
packaging, and that's still legal. So if
Yeah.
you're eating lots of different food all the time, your level of accuracy when it comes to your tracking is probably going to be quite low because there's a 20% variance on any of that food. So it could be 20% lower or 20% higher in calories, protein, carbs, or whatever it is. So especially if you've got a goal of like losing fat, like trying to standardize at least some of your meals so that it makes that fluctuation a lot less because I'm eating the same things and then I can adjust the portion sizes if my weight's not moving. For me, I find that's like a nice middle ground where it's not just a set meal plan, which people,
Yeah.
the average person's probably not going to keep to. A bodybuilder will, because that's just what we do, and we find foods we like, and then we stick to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I think like off season I have a bit more of like options for like different sorts of food. But I think when it comes to prep, especially when I'm like 12, like I said, 12 weeks out and stuff like that, I try to kind of like just stick to what the same, like in the same thing basically, just because it's easier to know what is working, and you don't want to get to like week 2 and you're like, oh, I had that last week. That I look very good on that meal. Then this week is you look completely different. So yeah, I try to stick with the same camp because like from 12 weeks out. But off season I have a bit more options of different carb sources and different protein sources really. Just makes it a bit more relaxed, I guess.
Yeah. I think I say this is actually a mistake that I made a little bit. Like towards the end of prep, I was having too much flexibility, and it can, although I always hit the macros and it was always single ingredient food, so I know it was, the macros I wanted. It kind of started to throw off other things. So where, you know, potentially like potassium and sodium would
Yeah,
change a little bit along with like water. And the main thing was just like food volume. Like sometimes I'd be having like potato, which was like triple the weight of rice nearly for the same, calories and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then you're noticing too much fluctuations in your body weight as well.
yeah,
And then you're like having to try and make your mind up in, what to do. And then also like eating at slightly different, like obviously trying to eat at the same time. Sometimes I'd end up eating too late and it would be a bigger meal, which would affect this and that. And yeah, I think prep is a time, if you really want the best outcome to basically lock that in, especially towards the end. But I do think if you know what you're doing in the off season, there's a lot of advantages to having basically a meal plan, and then like multiple options per meal for that meal plan, because the more food variety you get, the more micronutrients you're going to hit anyway, and the wider profile things, which is going to be like a well-balanced diet to make you feel good, perform good, recover good. So yeah, I definitely think there's time and a place for both for everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
And it depends on the client as well. Like some people, when they try and do it, they just take the piss, like you said, they're just eating shit. And you look at their micronutrient profile, and I'm like, okay, you've hit the calories, but like you do that for a week and tell me you don't feel like arsehole. So you just got to have a certain amount of accountability. I think what I like to do with most clients that haven't done it before is have like their set meal plan where they have multiple options, and then I let them go off and do like one meal at a time once I've explained to them, and learn for themselves. Like, you've got 600 calories to balance here. You want to aim to get 30 grams of protein, whatever, and when they learn to do that, it sets them on a good track. So I think it's a good tool to have. And if you want sustainability in this game, then I think you should definitely learn it, because for most people, following like a meal plan forever is obviously not realistic.
And especially like if you've got new clients as well, to kind of get them used to that. I think when you have new clients, especially if they've got like bad eating habits, it's about or just kind of helping them change and develop like healthier habits. So once you put them on a plan like that, and they understand that the reason why they're doing that, or the reason why they're making the food choices they're making, I think in the long run it helps them build healthy habits. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
So I think it's essential when you're and it's
an
definitely especially
important
this
part
time
that
of
you
year.
sorry, I think an important point you've just made there is this, that it's acquiring that skill.
yeah,
Like, people don't realize that like managing a diet is a skill.
Yeah,
Understanding calories, macros, so carbs, fats, and proteins. Like, it always amazes me when like I put out like content that's talking about like macros, and people don't even know what macros are.
yeah.
And
yeah,
I think for us, because we've been in it for so long, it's such a simple thing.
So
But
easy.
if you like, okay, well, what's a carbohydrate? And they might know
Yeah,
two. Okay,
yeah.
well, what's the source of protein? Oh, cheese. That's not a source of protein. um, and it's like sometimes you
Uh,
have to really, really like dial down to the basics, because everything nowadays has got protein like written
yeah,
all over it. It
yeah,
costs 30% more, but you
yeah.
actually look at it and it's
It's
like
like
it
one
doesn't
gram,
have
one
that
gram
much
more.
protein in it.
No, it
Like,
doesn't.
for
It's
me,
less
my
than 10
definition
grams
of like,
always.
well, for me, my definition of if a food falls in a food group is the number one, so the highest
Mm,
macronutrient in
mm, mm,
that food group. So, for example,
yeah,
protein
100%.
is the highest amount of
Yeah,
thing in that protein that would make it a source of protein. If the
yeah,
highest thing is fat, you can't call it a protein, like,
yeah.
Right, so you're
because
telling me peanut butter is not protein, bro?
no.
I was doing it wrong this
That's
whole
no way,
time.
bro. I've been lied to my whole life.
Yeah. I think also like once people understand it is so simple. Like obviously if you're not on prep and you're in the off season or you're a lifestyle individual, you know, you can have so much flexibility with your food once you know what you're doing. Like 60 grams of oats, 60 grams of Weetabix, a bagel, two slices of medium bread. These are all things off the top of my head. They are basically the exact same calories and near enough the same carbs. It's going to be the same outcome. And you've got four choices right there off the top of your head. Do you know what I mean? And if you just spent a bit of time learning, like you can have so much more flexibility in life. Like I actually used the what's the right word? But basically, like in life, we learn to talk. We have to manage our money, right? We have to. We don't have a choice, okay? And if you earn £1,000 a month and you want to go buy a pair of trainers that cost you 250 quid, you can do that. But no, you're going to have to pull back on other things for less than a month. And if you don't, you're going to overspend that £1,000 and you're going to go in debt. Think of the same thing as your calories. If you want something that's 250 calories and you're eating 1,000, no one eat 1,000, by the way, then know you're going to have to pull back for the rest of the day. And if you don't, guess what? You're going to be in a surplus. You're going to gain body fat. You need to learn how to manage your calories, just like you have to learn how to manage your money. There's no
Yeah,
difference. Like people are, oh, I don't want to count this. I don't want to count that. You have to fucking count your money. I don't want to count my money. I wish I didn't have to do that. But guess what? Like it's just the way life is. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, 100%. I think
We still
we
got
lost.
Deej. I see he's frozen a bit.
It's frozen a bit.
See if we can get
But
him
yeah, I do
back.
agree with you though. It's so important that like you carry, you learn to do it because it's just part of it. Like yesterday, I had like one of my colleagues at work was asking me about how to help him, basically asking for help to help him put together like a diet plan.
Mm.
And I did like I asked him what he was eating and all that stuff. So I calculated his macros and made a diet plan for him. And he goes, "Oh, so I can't have that." I kind of like, of course you can't have it because it's not good for you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and
Mm.
I explained to him like the reason why it's not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, when people understand the reason, the whys, it makes things so much easier. Like
Yeah.
something that a skill I learned from coaching like little kids from chain gymnastics for years. When like you can send a child home and be like, okay, I want you to go home and do 100 sit-ups every day. They will like if they understand the reason why they're doing it, they will come back to you and they will do it every religiously every single day. If they don't understand it, they'll be like, why? They will never do it. Oh, coach told me to do it. They'll see it as a punishment, almost like. Whereas it's not really a punishment when it's meant to help them improve. So I think when you let people understand what the reason why they're making decisions, it makes things so much better, so much easier. It's not gonna be
Yeah.
fun, but it's work.
I think it should be taught in school, like basic nutrition. Imagine they did one term just teaching kids macros, you know, just the basics on stuff, right? I wonder how much millions that would save the NHS.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate. Did you
Well,
guys see that what's his name? Matt Does Fitness did
yeah.
that post about his
Yeah,
child. How
yeah,
like that? I was like, how is this even like why is even the teacher even putting up against that? Because that everything he said was right, and I agree with him.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
I
but the
think
system doesn't.
it was what he said was clipped and taken out of context. So he said,
Right.
"I'd rather my kids knew about nutrition than could read."
Yeah.
But it was part of a wider conversation. His kids can read, they are educated, and
Yeah.
it wasn't to say that like learning to read isn't a useless skill. It was the fact that like understanding your nutrition and your health is probably a far more useful skill in terms of society than knowing
Yeah.
why Shakespeare and Macbeth is
Yeah.
like blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Like
Yeah.
think of GCSE maths. Like when have you used trigonometry in
Oh,
your
bro.
everyday life? That
Well,
basically
you're telling
once
me
you've
don't
got
use.
addition, subtraction, and multiplication out of the way, most of the stuff you learn at like GCSE maths you probably will never use. However, why don't they teach kids how to budget? Like, I didn't know what
Yeah,
APR was until I was already like 5 grand in debt. Like, again,
yeah,
same thing with like nutrition, training. Like, they're not actually teaching these kids like life skills that'll be useful
yeah.
to them. And like Chris was saying, like, teaching somebody about basic macronutrients. Like, think about how
How's
many of
that
these
not
kids are
cool?
getting. Well,
All
think about
you
how many of
eat
these kids
every
are getting
fucking
educated
day,
by
three
TikTok.
meals a day. It's
Like,
mad.
well, my stepson, 22 years old, has lived with me since he was 12. Really got into the gym at 16. Like, I've been a personal trainer since 2012 with what, mm, 13, 14 years experience. Has he ever asked me about the gym? No. Where does he learn all this stuff from? TikTok. And it's like, I see him doing stuff and I've tried to help, but it's one of those things if they're not receptive to learning it, it's like butting your head up against a brick wall. Like you guys have probably seen it in the gym when you've got these 16, 17-year-olds doing like the science-based lifting stuff with all the bands and the straps and it's like you don't have
The
enough
pump
muscle.
roller.
Yeah. Like you don't even have the basics locked down. Like you don't need to worry about this stuff. But again, it's because they're
Yeah.
not even taught the basics anywhere. They have to figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Matt used to be a teacher as well, didn't he? And obviously he did well elsewhere, but one of the reasons and his motives, and I know other teachers in real life as well, is like they don't agree with the whatever it's called, like what they have to teach, whatever the
The
word is
national
for them,
curriculum.
the curriculum. And yeah, I mean, we could go around in circles, couldn't we? But like, I think the biggest thing is what do you have to do to survive, and you do multiple times every single day, eat. So why the fuck are you not taught anything about that? Like,
It's
it's
baffling.
absolutely bonkers, you know. And
The thing is,
even with
we're
money,
talking
like
about it right
you,
now, but we all went through school and that was never mentioned. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's actually bizarre to me that we went through school and not once did a single teacher even teach us about this stuff. It's crazy.
it's like you can't even make it up, could you? If you was
No.
like in another dimension looking in, you'd be like, that's obviously not true.
Well, think about how many teachers struggle with it themselves.
Yeah,
Like,
but even
I've got a
even
number
like
of
doctors,
clients that are teachers. Again, with doctors, like, how
yeah,
many times have, like, I remember going to the doctor to had a hernia, um, and I was like peak off season, so I was maybe 80-ish kilos, and my height to weight ratio put my
mm,
BMI at something like 30. So, oh, you might
yeah,
want to lose some weight, mate. And I was like, pretty sure my body fat percentage is still like 17%
yeah,
or something like that. Like, I think I'm
yeah.
absolutely fine. And he sat there
But
probably with a BMI of 35 or 40, like little beer gut, like having to like push himself away from the desk to be able to type. And it's like,
Oh
you're
God.
the person that's kind of giving health and fitness, well, health advice out, and you clearly can't follow your own advice because you're not in even healthy shape, let alone good shape.
I
That
think,
kind of brings up the whole
sorry,
topic
mate, go
of
on.
about, when I think the topic was that should PTs be like in shape? Would you go to like a PT that's out of shape or one that's not in shape? Would you listen to sort of thing?
Yeah, I think with the doctors thing, like obviously they're so amazing at everything, but again, they're just not really educated on the nutritional side, and if they don't have
Yeah.
their own passion in that, then they do just give crappy advice. Like they tell people just to cut carbs and stuff like that. And I do understand why they say that because for most people, if you do cut carbs, you are just going to lose body fat. But again, you know, it's because they just end up eating less calories overall, right? You was talking earlier on, you know, and that's why that sometimes they recommend just doing fasting or whatever. Not because fasting's good, but because if you only have given a certain period of time to eat, you're probably going to eat less. So guess what? You're going to eat in a deficit, and you know sometimes it's quicker also for them to just be able to say that rather than trying to sit down and try and educate people because they just don't have the time, do they?
Yeah, that
Um,
makes sense.
but yeah, with Patrick, what you said about the PT thing, you know what? I think this is something that I've opened my mind to as years have gone on. So I have seen some PTs that have undergone their own journey and they might still be overweight, but say they've lost like 40, 50 kilos. And I do think in that scenario, um, people that are how they used to be can relate to them more. And then in that case, you know, an overweight PT can make sense if that makes sense. But I do
Yeah,
get, you
no,
know,
I totally agree. I think like if it's like it's someone that obviously made a significant change, like, and you can see that you can
mm,
follow them, you can see how you can see the progress. Do you know what I mean? It makes sense to kind of like feel comfortable around them and be coached by them
yeah,
because they're going to take you through the same journey. So that's totally understandable. It's like, but what I'm trying to say is that what I hate seeing, especially on social media, is when you see like a PT or like a bodybuilder, for example, who did not look great naturally as a natural athlete, but then hops on gear and puts on like a massive like loads of muscle tissue, and also start advertising, oh, look at my transformation from here to there. I can teach you to get in that shape. I'm like, how are you going to teach someone to get? You literally been using gear to get to that
yeah,
shape.
but
So
placebo, that's simple, isn't
yeah, and it's like, and I know, bro, I know a few people that do that. And I'm like, you
Yeah,
cannot do a comparison post of you when you're 16 to you after using being on cycle for the last 10 years. That is just that doesn't make sense to me, like in any world. Like it's not realistic. So stop telling people fake dreams,
It
basically.
is, as long as you get them to run a massive debug cycle.
Yeah, of course.
Just pump them full of tren, and they'll make any. They can you could do whatever you wanted.
It's crazy, man. But I
I
know the
think
guy, I know one guy that literally does that all the time. I'm like, stop doing that, bro. It's not realistic. We all know you've been running gear for like so long and you still look awful. So stop trying to use that as an excuse to like, get clients. It doesn't work.
I think going back to your point, Chris, I think it's down to the client and what journey they're looking to go on. So, like, if
Mm.
you're an aspiring bodybuilder, you're
Yeah, I
probably
agree.
not going to hire someone who is like fat and overweight and has never competed. Like, it might be different if they
Mm,
competed 20 years ago and now they're a bit overweight, but they also have 50, 60, 70 like champions in their roster because they've shown by example
Mm.
that they kind of know what they're doing. Whereas if it's like a middle-aged dad
Yeah.
just down the gym that's got a beer belly and is basically gets out of breath teaching classes, is that person necessarily going to be the best like leader to his bunch of clients that are all middle-aged dads that are trying to lose weight if he's not gone through that journey himself? So we actually had
Mm.
one that worked at Pure Gym, and it was one of the things you make it harder for yourself as a PT if you don't like model the behaviors that you want your clients to do. Like ultimately you're a leader of your team. So if you're
yeah.
selling fat loss but you're not able to do it yourself because you're not willing to put yourself through what you're asking your clients to, why would they ever want to do it? So like I know for me, even before I started competing, I would diet I would run a diet phase at least once a year to put myself in my client's shoes to be doing the things that I was asking them to do because I didn't think it was fair that I'm asking you to do X, Y, Z, but I'm not prepared to do that myself. Um, but I also know there was a really, really good coach at a gym I used to work at that he was overweight and I came in with it, oh my God, like, how does he have any clients? It turns out, like, he's a cancer survivor or, and had kind of put all the weight back on after he'd kind
Mm.
of like lost it all. But his story was he'd overcome cancer, he was in remission, and
Yeah.
yes, he was kind of like out of shape at that time, but his clients loved him because of that story that was
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just about the physique at that point. It's about the character. If you can battle
Yeah.
through the adversity there, then you can battle through adversity for fat loss.
Yeah.
Another time, lads. I think we wrap it up there. I think that's a very productive session. So everyone, thank you again for tuning in for episode 3. If you are enjoying these episodes and you want to know each of our own journeys to where we're at now, then there is a few episodes of us all kind of explaining that. So just kind of have a look on the page, flip back, watch that. Much appreciated. But yeah, lads, thank you for today, and we'll catch up soon.
No
Thank you,
worries,
Big
guys.
Dog.
Oh,
I'll
the
see you soon.
audience, remember to like and subscribe. Need those numbers going up.
That's it. Like, subscribe, and comment saying Patrick got new Wi-Fi.
It's the same
Right.
one, mate. It's the same one. Just do the Disney
Yeah.
Plus, yeah. The Disney.
Yeah.
Subscribe
Right,
over here.
lads. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Take
See you
care, mate.
later.